Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Tuesday, November 26th. It is 6:23 right now. Market's gonna open in about 7 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. Right. And it looks like we are good to go. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right, perfect. So as people join in, I am going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. All right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, November 26th. It is 6:25 right now. We have market opening up in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here, starting off the daily time frame. Go down here. Looks like we're close to the all-time high again. Down to the 4-hour. Going down to the 2-hour. Going down to the 1-hour. Down to the 30-minute. Going down to the 15-minute. Down to the 10-minute. Down to 1 minute. And it looks like we are good to go here. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, November 26th. It is 6:26 right now. Market's going to open in about 4 minutes. I've just marked up liquidity over here. So the closest level of liquidity above is at 44,740. Closest level of liquidity down below is at 44,708. This upper level just got hit, so it's probably not going to be valid as we get closer to market open. With that said, we have higher liquidity up here at 44,796 and lower liquidity down here at 44,635. So we got a lot of liquidity on both sides today. I'll know the direction of the breakout in about 2 minutes. So in about 2 minutes, I'll post up the direction of the breakout, and then we'll start looking for any inconsistencies that we might have to look for moving forward. Here's the clean chart. I'm gonna mark up some levels here as well. So we got level right there. Level right there. There. And level right there. And then level right there. All right, so there goes a clean chart right there. Let's see if there's any zones here that we might want to mark up. Decent amount. Right there. There. there, and there. A couple of zones right there for the SR chart. So there goes market structure right there, as you guys can see. Price is kind of sitting right here at the 750 mark. Looks like breakout for today. Maybe a possible buy. Look to make sure you don't have those huge candles again yesterday. Hey, Lila, morning. Yeah, definitely. Lila said, great class yesterday. If you guys didn't sit in on the mentoring session yesterday, we covered a lot of the basics. So if you want to know the very bare basics of stuff, go ahead and review the mentoring session from yesterday, which was a master class. So the breakout for today is going to be a buy. We got market opening up in about 40 seconds. We got 30 seconds till market open. Market opening up in about 20 seconds. We got 10 seconds till market open. Market opening up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Market is open. So our direction for the breakout today is going to be a buy. Check my parameters here. 623, down slightly. Points.
Order filled.
All right, so let that run for a bit. Volatility is a little low here on open, but let that trade kind of play through. So let's see, let's go to our clean chart over here. We got liquidity sitting down below. Price is currently at. So price just hit that lower liquidity. It's kind of just sitting right here now in the open. Yeah, there's not too much direction here so far. Price looks like it's just sitting right here down the middle. Going over to our clean chart, like I said, price looks like it's kind of just sitting right here between the 750 mark and the 700 mark down here. It's kind of where price is just consolidating for the moment. Let's take a look at the higher time frames. We got the, let's see, the 1 minute here is pretty neutral. 5 minute is bearish. 10 minutes bearish. 1 hour is bullish. 4 hours bullish. And the daily time frame is bullish. So the higher time frames here are bullish. The lower time frames are currently bearish right now. We'll kind of see where this ends up going. All right, so unfortunately, our stop loss did get hit for the breakout. So today is the first day of loss for the breakout. Yesterday, one. So just one loss for the breakout so far. So loss for the breakout today, and we will continue looking for possible entries as we continue on with this week. All right, so let's look for some possible scalps here. Possible. Let's see what we got. The volatility just wasn't there today like it was yesterday. You can see here price. I wouldn't be surprised if this here ends up swinging right back up. The only issue here is that we have a pretty sideways market right now. So price looks like it might just sit right here down the middle. Yesterday was pretty solid because we had price break up and it just stayed up there, right? Today we have price kind of just going back and forth between this middle area. So, I mean, it's all good. There's just no volatility right now. This is Thanksgiving week, so it's holiday week, of course. And I was hoping we'd have more direction, but it looks like we're getting some sideways move here. So first loss for the week so far with the breakout. Yesterday's breakout won. So yesterday's breakout was a 1 to 2. So for that, we had it's 1 to 2. So like basically whenever we have a win, it covers 2 losses. And we should be pretty fine. So we'll try again tomorrow for the breakout, but right now we'll look for some scalps along the way. Shorter time frames again here are looking bearish, but not sure how long this will necessarily stay bearish because the higher time frames here are bullish. So once we get some direction here, I'll start looking for some possible entries for some scalps. Right now, it's just not looking like there's much direction. If price stays below this point, then okay, great. I'll start looking for some possible. Ideally, I'd probably look for some breakout V3 continuations, but we'll need a retracement candle in order for us to take that. If you want to take a market flow V2, closest level for market flow V2 will be right over. I just don't understand why this pivot here is like black colored for some reason. Trying to see why is it like that. Or wait. Trying to see what's this. Oh, okay, I get it. So so TradingView just updated their, sorry, just 1 second. I was trying to figure out what this black line was right here. I just remember TradingView just updated their what is that? I'm trying to figure out what this line is right here. TradingView updated their Pine script to. Oh, okay. I don't know why this is even here. Sorry, guys. TradingView updated their Pine script to Pine script version 6. So I thought it messed with my indicators a little bit, but it didn't. It was just for some reason I had another pivots that was turned on right at price. Anyways, if you guys are looking to take a market flow V2, closest entry for market flow V2 would be right here at the 700 mark, it looks like. Or actually at the 90. So if you're looking to take a market flow V2, entry would be right here at the 90 mark. Personally, I don't think it's the best place to take entry because there's no direction, but if you are looking to take it, it'd be right here at the 690 mark. Not taking this position here because like I said, there's no direction. Prices are just going back and forth. So if you guys sat in on the mentoring session yesterday, I said I typically don't like trading in these types of markets and markets going sideways. I like trading in a directional market. So I like trading when markets going down or when markets going to the upside. So we do have strategies that work in a sideways market like this. However, I personally don't like using them as much. I like waiting for price to actually move directional. So until price breaks past this 650 mark, I'm not really looking to take any entries here for any scalps, at least not yet. So again, if you took the entry right here for the market flow V2, it looks like it's currently running. I'm not in the position, but the entry would have happened. Actually would have happened a little higher at the 700 right here. Because the pivots didn't really come down that far. So the entry would happen a little higher right here at the 700. But it doesn't matter. Wherever you took the entry, if you took it at the 700 or if you took it at the 90 mark, you still would be in profit right now. So it doesn't really matter which direction you take it from. But again, this is the entry that's currently running. If you have your trailing stop, looks like your trailing stop would have gotten moved in profit already. If you took it at the 700 full TP, and if you took it at the 690, it is on its way to full TP right now. So full TP right there for market flow V2 if anybody decided to take that. Like I said, market's not really moving directional right now, so I'm not really not really feeling this type of market conditions. But I'll just mark it up right there so that you guys can see. You guys are looking to see examples of specific entries and strategies. All right, so I will continue to look for next possibility shortly. All right. So again, we're right here at the sessions, guys. The session kind of lines up with the lower support right here on the clean chart. Price is currently sitting at the sessions. It's not a good area to trade in, so I'm gonna wait for price to kind of push away from it. Let's see if there's any area of overextension I should probably be looking for here. Price hasn't, the volatility is not high enough. So there's just not very much direction there for the most part. So I'm trying to see if it's going to stay below or if it's going to stay above. Looking at the higher time frames, I mean, price is still pretty bullish. The only problem here is that we're so close to the all-time high. That's why price is having trouble pushing up higher from where it's currently at. Lower time frames are bearish, but it could be temporary. So we'll see. Anyways, a clean chart still has that level there. So again, price hasn't really broken below. It's right here right now, but this can easily just fake out and pull back into the range. All right. Easily just pull back into the range right there. If you guys are looking to get an Apex account, the 80% off is still going on. It's going to expire in about 14 hours. So by the end of today, if you guys want to use Apex, use my promo code. It's going to give you the 80% off. If you use a different promo code, it's probably going to give you less. So it's 80% off plus $85 PA conversion. Let me check NQ. I'm just kind of curious to see how it moved this morning. NQ is moving a little more directional. Glenn is asking the breakout play out today. No, it didn't. Yesterday's played out. So today was our first loss for the breakout this week. Yesterday's won for 100 points. Today lost for 50 points. So overall, still net profit for the breakout this week, but today's did not play out. Let's see. Williams said would not be surprised if they have a deal for Black Friday on Apex. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. The thing is, they don't publicly announce these promos. So if you look on the Discord, they didn't actually tell people about this Discord that was 80% off. Like you have to know who has a specific code. So if you look over here at their promos, they didn't announce it for November. So for November, like this promo, a lot of people don't know about it. You have to use my promo code because my promo code has, well, it's not my promo code, it's the admin code. So basically all the admins in Apex before they had a specific code that they would use. And I got that code from them. So that's why if you use the code that I have, it's called like JJ. You just keep using it. Like whenever you're trying to buy a Apex account, just use this code here. It's a very specific code. It's JJNIEOWR. This is an admin code. So whenever you try to buy an account with Apex, just use this specific code, and this code will give you the highest discount. Because if you go to Apex without anything, so if I go to Apex, well, it's not going to show because I'm like logged into my thing. I was trying to log in where you couldn't see it, but you can. It wouldn't show the promo if you don't have that specific code or if you didn't use a specific link. So if you use this link or you use this code, it's going to give you the highest discount. Because someone else in the group, well, not in this group, in a different group, paid full price, and then I told them there's a promo, and they're like, they didn't even know there's a promo going on because Apex doesn't necessarily make it. I mean, it makes sense. Apex doesn't want the public to know about the promos anymore because they want people paying full price for it. But if you know the promo, then you kind of get hooked up with it because, I mean, there's no way I'm going to pay full price for an Apex account. Never. Because I know the like even when there's no promos going on, the code that I have gives you at least 50% off. So it's still it's a steal basically. Thanks, CJ. Just saw you post that up right there. CJ said we have High Pack news at 7. That is correct. Let me check real quick. We have High Pack news at 7 o'clock, and then Low Impact news at 7:30. So we got news coming up shortly. Hopefully at the 7 o'clock news, this is going to be the catalyst to push price because market volatility here is just a little too low. If you guys are looking to take more entries, there can be a possible market flow V2 coming up again right here. The only problem again is that we're right at the sessions, guys. So this is not going to be a good place to take entry. I'd probably wait for it to drop a little bit right here. But this area right here is not necessarily the best place to be looking for entry for market flow. Price has only dropped down about 90 points. It looks like price here has dropped down a lot, but it's not very much. It's 90 points. So go figure. Now we just got to wait a little bit. I'm looking for the retracement. So I want price to retrace up so I get that buy signal. Once I get that buy signal, I'm going to look for a possible breakout V3 continuation. All right, let me turn off my hedge laptop. And I wish I took that trade yesterday on me for the breakout because that one was such a good entry. It was just such a last minute move with that big spike on the 629 candle. Even Sam hit me up yesterday. He was like, bro, I think something's wrong with my copier. And I was like, no, he just didn't take the trade because the 629 candle spiked like at the last second. So guys, just a reminder, if you guys are not aware, we are having a masterclass every Monday at 2 p.m. If you guys missed the last masterclass yesterday, it was a pretty good masterclass. We covered a lot of stuff here, basically module 1 and 2. So all the platforms, trading platforms, and all the miscellaneous platforms that we use. Next week we'll be covering the indicators. So if you want to learn about all these indicators here, exactly what they do, how we use them, and how you can use them to your advantage, I'll be covering them in detail. Market flow V2 just came up right here, guys. Again, like I said, it's kind of tricky because it's right between the sessions, but if you guys took it, it happened right there at the 650 mark. Looks like it's about to hit TP, but it's right at the session, so not exactly the best area to be taking entries. So it looks like the 10 points would have gotten hit again right there. The full TP hasn't gotten fully hit yet, but there was another market flow V2, same entry. We had a sell signal, price push down, a retrace of the pivots right here. Entry happened right here at the 690 mark. Price dropped again right here, pushed back up. There's actually 2 entries for market flow V2. There's another one that happened right here, but I for sure wouldn't take this entry because it was right at the sessions. This over here could have been manageable. If you had your trailing stop, you probably would have gone stopped out here at 10 points. But you can see right here, it's pushing down to the TP as we speak. But I'm going to play it safe, of course. I'm not going to take anything here that's too risky because it's just not worth the risk. Other than that, there's not really much else here to take right now. We got news right here at 7 o'clock. I'm hoping when the news comes up at 7 o'clock, we'll have some sort of push in a direction, whether it be to the upside, whether it be to the downside. Don't really care too much. Here, I'll just mark up the other one that happened over here as well, so that you guys have an idea if you guys are looking for examples of these market flow V2s. I know some of you guys don't fully understand the market flow V2, also because I haven't created a strategy video on it yet, but here are examples of market flow V2s. They're risky market flow V2s that I wouldn't take because there's red flags here, but these are examples of the patterns that come up what we're looking for. Because you're looking for price that provide a sell signal, you're looking for it to come down, retrace, come back to the pivots, enter at the pivots, come back down, retrace to the pivots, enter at the pivots, retrace down, retrace the pivots, and then continue down lower. So these are just examples of market flow V2 entries, so that if you guys are looking to take these entries in the future, you guys know what they look like. Again, I wouldn't take any entries down here because it's right in between the sessions. Let's go back to our clean chart. You can see over here the clean chart price is just faking out, and then it's pulling right back into the range. So we'll see what happens here, because one of two things will happen at this point. Price is either going to break and retest off this lower support level and come back down lower. Ideally, this is what we would like to see. If we have that, then we'll start looking for some more sell entries. However, the other thing that may happen here is price may pull right back into the range. It may fake out right here, pull back into the range, and go back and forth within this area. You just got to see how price reacts to this specific area right here, because you can see before price got into this area, price was ranging within this middle area right here, right? So one of two things are going to happen. Either price is going to go back into this range, fake out, go back into the range, or like I said, price may finally break below the support, retest it, and come back down lower. But there's really no telling where price is going to go until you have that confirmation. So you kind of want to see how price reacts to this area here. And that's exactly what's happening, right? Price here is faking out, and now it's starting to react to this zone, and it's pulling back into the range. So that's why I wasn't looking to take any market flow V2s here, at least not yet, because there's just no reason for me to take anything when there's no actual confirmation of direction. So this right here would have been a partial. You would have got it pulled out at 10 points if you were looking to take this here for 10 points. I'll just leave it right here for right now. So whenever I take an entry, what I do here is I take a trade for a 30-30. Most of you guys know that. So say, for example, if I'm taking a sell entry, I take a trade for 30-30. What I have is a trailing stop loss that follows this entry. So when price reaches 11 points right here, my stop loss gets moved in profit to 10 points. So what happens is I guarantee 10 points and I still reach for the full 30. So when price pushes down, stop loss and profit. If price ends up going down to the full TP, then I end up getting full TP. If price pulls up, I get stopped out at 10 points. So either way, I'm securing my win. All right, there's a possible V1 variation here. Again, like I said, this is a tricky area to be trading in because price is still within this range. Looks like no V1 variation there. Candle's closing green. All right, so price is now back into the range we spoke about. So here we go, fake out right there. Price is now back within the range, and it looks like we might get some consolidation within this area. Here's the SR chart. So here is our SR chart. It's pretty messy, as you guys can see. Looks like price came down a lot right here, but it didn't really come down very much. Let's see. So from that high right there, prices come down about 141 points. So nothing too crazy. I mean, if it pushes down more than 200 points, then okay, that'll look like something that's a lot bigger. But right now, not so much. Again, price is just going to sit right here down the middle. Looks like not too much happening here. We got news coming up at 7 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, we'll see if that creates a catalyst. Ideally, I would like price to push back up. So ideally, I'd like price to push back up. Reason for that is because the higher time frames are still bullish. So we have the 1 hour here, it's still bullish, 4 hours bullish, daily is bullish, 1 minute is bearish, 5 minutes bearish, and 10 minutes bearish here. So it doesn't really matter which direction price goes, but ideally, if I want price to follow the higher time frames, I would like it to push back up. We're just gonna have to wait for this here. Drew said FOMC today. Let me check. Today's Wednesday, right? Or no, it's Tuesday. Oh yeah, so we do have the FOMC. Oh, because today's a holiday. They're not going to have it this week on Thursday. So yeah, they moved up FOMC today to Tuesday. So we got FOMC minutes over here at 11 o'clock. Yeah, because usually FOMC day is on, wait, Thanksgiving. Oh, okay, okay. It says Thanksgiving Day here. I was like, Thanksgiving is usually on Thursday. But yeah, because Thanksgiving Day is at the end of the day on Wednesday. So it starts Wednesday night, and then obviously it's up until Thursday. So market's going to be open tomorrow. They had to just move things around a little bit because of Thanksgiving. So FOMC minutes came out today, are coming out today versus tomorrow. They usually come out on Wednesdays. Yeah. This is the tricky thing about trading holiday weeks because a lot of things kind of get moved around a little bit. Thanks, Drew, for letting us know. All right, so we got nothing going on here. Price is still kind of just sitting around this middle area. Like I said, price is just now within this range. Let's see. So now price is coming down, trying to break below it again. We'll see if price actually breaks below and comes back lower. Otherwise, price is probably just going to sit here and consolidate for the next 5 minutes or so. We got news in about 5 minutes, so we're probably going to start getting that pre-news reaction. Let's see, the news for today is forecasted to be negative. New home sales dropping in October. Usually, this is normal because the housing market tends to slow down during the winter months. People don't want to move when it's cold, right? So yeah, new home sales, it's probably going to slow down for October, November, and December, and it's going to pick back up probably in February. So the news is forecasted to be negative, and we'll see how that plays through here. I know this chart's a little messy. I'll just move this lower over here so stuff's not in the way. So we have price climbing back up. Just like I said, ideally, I would prefer it to push up because the higher time frames are bullish. 1 hour is bullish, 4 hours bullish, daily is bullish. The 1 minute's now starting to shift to the upside, so the 5 minute and 10 minute are likely to follow. Again, here, we're just going to wait for this here to play through. Ideally, I would have wanted price to be bullish to begin with. That's why for the breakout here, we did take the buy. Let me measure this red candle here. It was fine. Today's breakout was a fair loss because this hill wasn't bigger than like 50 points. The following candle here was huge though. So the following candle was like 62 points. All right, we have a pending sell signal right here. You guys can see here from our markup chart, you can see the closer range. So the closer range is actually between this middle area. There's a consolidation range right here. And then the bigger range is between these two big areas right here, from this upper point to this lower point. So we got the sell signal right there currently pending. Yeah, there's not much happening here. There's a possible breakout V3 continuation that may set up right here. The only problem is that it's right at the session, so nothing that I would take. Also, we have news coming up right here at 7 o'clock, so I wouldn't take any entries around this point. I'd wait for news to happen. Once news passes, I'm going to look for some sort of catalyst here to push price to the upside or to push price to the downside, right? We just want price to break out of this area. This area right here is not a good area to be trading in. So going back to our clean chart, you can see here, you don't want to trade right down the middle. There's just no reason to trade down here. I want price to come to an area that we're actually looking for. Yeah, this mid area here is just not a good area. Price hasn't even came down and retested, or it hasn't even tested initially this lower level down here. So it's still got a ways to go. Basically, you want to see where price pushes out of this specific area. So you want price to, right now it's consolidating down this middle. You want price to climb up here, push up higher, or in the opposite, push down here and climb down lower. So look for confirmation above this area, or look for confirmation below this area down here. Just away from where it's currently at, because it's been here for the past 30 minutes now. This range here has been established as just a dead point. See how market moved over here for London session. Range manipulation, huge spike over here pre-market. All right, so there goes a news candle. I don't really see much. There we go. So it's now starting to finally move a little bit. So there goes a news candle right there. Let's check out news. News was very negative. So it was 4.1% last month. It was forecasted to be negative 3.6. It was actually negative 17.3. So the new home sales month over month is horrible right now. It's really, really bad. There's a ton of home sales for October, but month over month, it's horrible. It's just tumbling lower and lower, negative 17%. That's why we have that big spike candle right here, because it was actually a lot worse than expected. That's crazy. So the housing market is pretty bad right now, month over month. It was good for October slightly, just a little okay, but month over month. So for the entire year, it's doing pretty bad. That's crazy. Negative 17%. They're forecasting -3. It was negative 17. That means nobody's buying houses right now. Well, for this year at least, for 2024. Drew said this is the most I've seen new home sales move in a while personally. Yeah, usually new home sales doesn't affect the market very much. It's a small push, but not a huge catalyst, right? I think because the number was so bad for the month over month, I'm kind of curious to see what it was last month now. It's like it's a huge, they were 13% off from their projections. You know why? It's because of the election. That's why. I think a lot of people were unsure what was going to happen during the elections because this is for October, so it's not for November. It'll probably go back up for November, but for October, or actually it might stay down because the thing is, Trump is not good for the housing market. It's good for the rich, but not for the housing market. Like if you have cash, then great, you buy the house cash. But most people finance homes, so like for the normal person who's buying a home, the housing market's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse because Trump's going to devalue the dollar. So, there's a lot of things that are going to happen over the next year or so. It's going to be good for us because we're going to have more volatility in the market, but for the general public, it's not going to be super great. Like Trump has tariff threats that he's made, and I think he's going to follow through with them. Pretty much all the stuff that was in place is pretty much going to get turned over. There's just a lot of different things that are going to happen in the world. So Buckle up, guys. It's going to be a crazy 2025 with Trump president. Um, it'll be good for us though in the market. So at least we'll have volatility in the market. It'll be easier to make money in the market for us with these morning trades. Um, I mean, I'm probably just going to stack up for the next year, basically. I was thinking about buying a house next year. I've been looking, but probably hold off a little bit longer. It's just not really necessary right now. I feel like home buying is like one of the biggest milestones for a lot of people, but it's crazy. Like if you buy a home in a bad market and the housing market kind of turns over on you, and you're screwed and you end up getting foreclosed on. I know a lot of people who bought houses just because they wanted a house and like they're like barely surviving. It's crazy. Yeah, Daniel said any house over 700K in my area have been sitting and getting price reductions. You're in Reno, right, Daniel? Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's tough in Nevada, like I've seen a lot of people who like move to Nevada and then or Reno or any area in there, even Las Vegas, and people just end up wanting to move back to where they were. I feel like during COVID, it was a good time to like buy a house around there because it was like all that hype and stuff. But I feel like now, like there's like very specific areas where people are looking to move. But yeah, areas in Arizona, areas in Vegas, areas like in like the less desirable places, of course. It'd be nice if the weather was like nicer in those areas all year round. I think that'd be the key thing if the area if the weather was better. But yeah, it's tough. Yeah, Daniel said it took 9 months for my uncle's house, listed at 920, sold at 840 down. So he definitely took a nice big reduction off that. The thing is, like in certain areas, like where I'm currently living in Irvine, it's and this is where I'm looking to buy a home in Irvine. It's the crazy thing here is that the value just keeps going up. So like, yeah, if you're to buy a house in a certain area, like for me, I wouldn't mind paying extra to buy a really nice home here in Irvine, but like the prices here are so expensive. Like the minimum price for a home here is easily over 1.5 million, and it's for a small house too. It's not even for anything big. You add financing into that, and then if you want a nicer house, you'll go up into like the 2 to 5 million price range. But the thing is, like if you buy a house in a specific area like this, the value will just always go up for the most part. Because it's a desirable place to live. Um, so yeah, if I want to stay in this area, it's gonna be tough. Even with like the profit that I'm making, it's like I don't want to spread myself too thin. It's just a lot of people like to put all their money into a house, but there's so many different factors. Like for example, when I got into that lawsuit last year with K2 trades, that thing was crazy. Like I didn't realize a suit like that would cost so much. And it's basically just a waste of money. So now that we're starting to fund and stuff, I have to like have some reserves just in case something else happens. Hopefully not, but rather be safe. Anyways, guys, prices down below this area. So we're finally getting a direction of price down below. We might be able to start looking for some possible market flow V2s in this area. So prices dropped below this point, came down, came up, came down, came up, and now it's coming back down right here. So at this point, we possibly look for some sell entries because we do have price finally breaking below the structure. Let's see where we can take entry at. All right, so we got price dropping lower. Looks like a market is starting to react to the news. So earlier it didn't have a reaction to it. Now it's having a really big reaction to it because people are starting to bandwagon onto those sells. News happened right here at 7 o'clock. You can see this is the reaction to the news. I wouldn't chase it. I mean, if you were to enter it, I would have entered it up here, but at this point, it's kind of late to chase. I wouldn't recommend chasing the drop here. All right. So one thing that I'm going to all right, I'm going to measure overextension now. All right. So I just put a couple different parameters down here. This just shows me that price is overextended 200 points. So at this point, I'm like, okay, at that point, price might want to look for a reversal. If you guys are looking to take a market flow V2, market flow V2 could happen right here at the 600 mark, it looks like. Let's see. I got a sell limit right there.
Order submitted.
So possible market flow V2 right here at the 600 mark. I don't think I have my apex logged into here, guys. So sorry, you guys can't see it on my chart. Here, let me see if I could log into it real quick. Drag this over for 1 second. Oh, God, I hate when it does that. All right, 1 second, guys. I gotta re-enable my Apex. I don't know why Apex does that. Like it disables like your trading view thing. But it's like, why would I disable that? You've been using it. Add-ons. For some reason, it always makes me reactivate trading view. Okay, so all right, I got it on here now. All right, there we go. So now you guys can see my pending orders. So let's see, this thing's got to get moved down to 591, 590 at some point. If it gets moved down, I'll move it over, but as of now, it's not necessary. So if this green buy signal comes up, I'm going to cancel my order, of course. So let's see if I can cancel this. It's a little too late.
Order filled.
All right, so it looks like I'm in the position right here. Let's see if it's on properly. Looks like it's where it should be. So I don't have I'm in the position right now, it's running. You'll probably see my trailing stop get moved in profit shortly. If the buy signal there closes, all right, stop loss was moved in profit, I believe. Did it move in profit? It's weird. I had the error. I gotta close out of it. So I close out of it for a small profit right there, guys. Unfortunately, the trailing stop screwed up again. So I didn't
Order
move my
filled.
stop loss and profit. The volatility was just a little too high. So I got out of this position here for a partial profit, 10 points. You guys heard the cha-ching. It's got to follow the game plan. So there goes partial again right there for the market flow V2. So I'm out of that position right there. You guys heard it when it got The stop loss moved up. It made a cha-ching noise. I had the error, so I had to close out of the other positions. It was like very small partial, like basically half the profit. So I'm out of that position right there for a small profit. I'll just send this over to the chat real quick so that you guys can see. Um, I gotta take a screenshot of this too. This is the breakout. So there goes the breakout. Um, so I'll try to list the entries that came up today, like we did the other. So there's no breakout V3 continuation. There was how many market flow V2s? 4 market flow V2s so far. I haven't seen anything else come up here yet. So, all right. Next thing I'm going to look for is going to be a breakout V3 continuation. So I'll look for a sell signal here, and I'll look for a following red candle. Here are my profits so far. Very minimal. All right, so here are my profits so far. I'll be looking for another opportunity here, of course. Once the sell signal closes, I'll be looking for a possible breakout V3 continuation. But here are my profits so far for that market flow V2. For the week's decent, for the day, that's how much I've got so far. Again, we need to get a sell signal here. Once that sell signal closes, we'll be looking for a possible opportunity for a market breakout V3 continuation. So these are all the scalps that we've identified for today so far. Market flow up here, market flow right there, market flow right there, and another market flow right here. We need another sell signal. So once we get that sell signal, we can start looking for some more market flows. The only problem here is that it looks like price is going to consolidate within this area again. So today's not a really great market. I mean, yesterday was pretty solid. Unfortunately, I didn't get into the breakout yesterday. I mean, that one was like probably one of the best breakouts we've seen in a while, where it went straight up with the oversized candle. Today, the breakout went the other way, but it kind of just went sideways for a bit. So market opened right here at 630. Price went sideways, came down, went sideways, came down, went sideways. And we'll see here if price ends up coming down further. I have the overextension marked up down here. So if price does come down any lower, I know it'll be careful once we get down to this area right here, because price will be overextended about 200 points. It's not looking like we're going to get that right now because the volatility is so low. The ATR is currently at 20 right now. It's not extremely low, but it is very low in comparison to what we expected yesterday. Yesterday was around 30. Now it's at 20. And I mean, you can see here, it's pretty obvious. There's no market volatility. Price is just going back and forth. So see what happens here. So if we get a breakout V3, a breakout V3 continuation here, I'm probably not going to take it now, because now that I've noticed that price is currently just consolidating within this middle area, I don't think it's going to be a good entry. I mean, if you guys want to take it, I'll tell you guys where it's at. But I really need to have some sort of movement here before I start taking any entries like that. So if this candle closes red, and then we have a strong red candle after it. So if I see another strong red candle right here, then I'll possibly take that breakout V3 continuation. But if it's like a little baby candle, I'm not going to take it. There's just no point. You can see here that there is no volatility, there's no direction. Price is just going sideways. I need price to actually break out of this area. Like I need price to really push out of here and go down lower because we do have liquidity sitting right here, right? So we got liquidity hanging out right here, but you can see from where price is currently moving, there's no actual direction. So I've marked up liquidity above, marked up liquidity below, but price here is just not going anywhere. Staying right down the middle. Whenever the market does this, sorry guys, 1 second. Whenever the market does this, this is a time where you just want to sit tight and just wait because price can really go either way right now, right? Price is just bouncing back and forth. Whenever price does this and it consolidates, you can take sideways entries, but the thing is there's not even any sideways entries here at the moment, right? There's no V1 variations. I mean, technically there was a V1 variation right here, but it was right at the sessions. So, I mean, yeah, you could have taken a V1 variation right there, and it's still technically running right now. There was a double body rejection right here with the buy signal, high with the red candle right here. It's a double body rejection. This here is a V1 variation that's currently still running. I'm not in this position, but this is a V1 variation. This is one of the sideways strategies that we tend to look at. The main one that we like to look at is the high level momentum scalp. There was one that happened right here. I didn't really identify that until later, but there was one right here, but it was right at the sessions. So, I mean, this whole area right here is not a good area to trade in. This is what we call session sandwiches because price gets stuck in between the sessions right there. So if you guys are new here, you probably are not familiar with these sessions. These sessions here identify the previous session high low. So this purple line right here is the Asia low. The Asia high will be a bit higher, of course. You can't see it on the screen because it's so high up. This is the London low, the red candle, or the red line. You'll see both red lines are London high lows, and the green lines are the New York high lows. So the reason why we have these here is because these are considered red flags to us. Whenever price touches these previous high lows, you'll see that price tends to get manipulated around these areas. So for example, price was up here at the New York high earlier this morning. See how price pushed up, it tapped it, and then it came all the way down. Price came back over here, retested the Asia high, then it came all the way down. Same with this over here. Price came down, came and tapped the Asia low right here, push all the way back up, right? You can catch the bounces off these sessions, but for the most part, we treat them as red flags, meaning those aren't areas that you want to trade in because it's typically where price gets manipulated at. So yeah, if you guys want to look at it here on a cleaner chart. So this is a clean chart right here. Let me just hide my markups. Yeah, you can see up here when price got to this New York high, it bounced directly off that session high right there. You can see over here when price got around the Asia high, see how it gets kind of manipulated? That's why we don't trade around these areas because price tends to consolidate around that area and then you get faked out. Like right here, it faked out both directions, came back up. Came up right here, pushed above it, faked out, came right back down super hard at 4 o'clock this morning. Price came down right here to the Asia low, consolidated right there for a little bit, faked out below it, came right back up. Came right here, faked out below, faked out above, faked out below, faked out above, and then it came right back down below. It's not always going to be a clean break. So that's why instead of like taking trades around those areas, I kind of just let it be and I look for price to push away. I trade outside the session. So price will bounce off the sessions. That'll be a confluence like, okay, price bounced off it. It's probably going to drop down lower and I'll trade around this lower area here. Same with this. Price is currently sitting at the sessions. I'll look for it to push above here. Or I'll look for it to push down here. So when you guys attend the next masterclass next Monday on December 2nd, I will cover that indicator in detail. I'll show you how you can trade the indicator. I'll show you how you can use my strategies to pretty much avoid bad trades. There's so many different ways to apply strategies with my tools and my indicators. There's some ways that I use them, and there's some ways that I just use them as confluences, but not There's just a lot of ways to use it. So like there's those ways to use it with my strategies, there's ways to use it without it, and there's just so many different opportunities that you can look up using these tools here because they're used for a lot of different things. Like these pivots can be used for trend, they can also be used um, for rejections. The main reason I created this indicator for the pivots was mainly for the bounces. So you can see how price comes down below it and bounces off the pivots. But then later on, I started using them for stuff like the trend. So a lot of different uses here. Jason said, hey, Sean, I think Primero wants to go back to open. What do you think? I think your keyboard misspelled something, but yeah, I think you meant to spell price. I think Jason said, hey, Sean, I think price wants to go back to open. What do you think? Yeah, I think so. So opening price is up here. So looking at the higher time frames, like the 1 hour over here, Jason, I think price might come down a little lower, possibly bounce off the last pivot and come right back up. So this might be the leading time frame here because the 4 hour is still very bullish. The daily is bullish. The 1 hour here might lead until the four pivot, bounce off the pivot, and then bounce back up to go into correction on the higher time frames. The lower time frames here are still bearish, but it looks like they're a bit overextended. So if I look over here on, say, let's go on, say, like the 10-minute here. Let me see how far it's been dropping. So it's dropped about, I mean, it's way over 200 points now. So it's dropped about 260 points now on the 10-minute. So I think price is definitely overextended right now. And I do see a possible correction back up at some point. Might not happen right now, but eventually, I'm seeing that to possibly happen. So I do think price is overextended, especially here on the 10-minute. If we're looking at the lower time frames, it's due for retracement back up. So looking at the 1 hour over here, like I said earlier, price might come down, bounce off this pivot right here, then make its way back up. But we'll see. It might not happen right now. It's like 7:25, so we got only so much time until 8 o'clock. Yeah, we only got so much time right now. So we have a possible breakout V3 continuation coming up right here, guys. I think I'll take this one. It comes up. Let's see. We got the candle closing in about 3 seconds. 2, 1. So we have a possible breakout V3 continuation right here.
Order filled.
It's running right now. So it finally broke out of that area. That's the reason why I was a little more inclined to take it, because this is what we were waiting for. So I was looking for this breakout V3 continuation. I was looking for it to get out of this area right here where it's kind of consolidating for a little bit. Price hit the liquidity right there. And let's see if it continues dropping from where it's currently at. So price is dropping right now. My stop loss looks like it's going to get moved in profit shortly. See where it's at. So once you hear like a cha-ching noise, stop loss is going to get moved in profit. There you go. Stop loss is moved in profit. I'm in profit right there. Let's get to the full 30. Nope. Okay. So I got stopped out in profit again right there
Stop.
at 10 points. That's all good. It is what it is. This market just doesn't have much direction. So this is why I like using that trailing stop, guys, because I guarantee 10 points. Like Oscar just said right now, a win is a win. So I'm up about like 630 per account right now. It's not where I'd like to be, but it's all good. If I got full TP on this trade, I would make 1,500. But because I got stopped out in profit right here, you guys can see my trailing stop automatically moved up, and then I guaranteed 10 points. Like I said before, you can't go broke taking profit. Like, yeah, it would be nice to get the full TP, but like, for example, this one over here would have hit full TP as well. and I can just make some adjustments here as well because it actually played through it as it came down lower. This one over here as well too. So there's a lot of entries here that could continue playing through. The only thing here is that I'd rather be safe, right? Because the market here isn't very directional. If this here was actually moving very smoothly and it was just going down and up and down, like, so for example, if this is moving up like this pretty smoothly, then okay, great. But the problem with this here is that the market's not moving like that. The market's moving like this. So it's coming down a little bit, consolidates, comes down a little bit, consolidates, comes down a little bit, consolidates. While the market is moving directional to the downside, it's not a smooth directional push, right? So it's not a smooth push to the downside. It's like down, sideways, down, sideways. And I don't like this type of market because when this happens, it can easily just finally reverse to the upside and then you're screwed, right? So I'd rather just take my profits where I can rather than holding on to a scalp that ends up turning into a day trade position. So like, for example, this one over here, this trade ran for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, 15, 15 minutes. This is no longer a scalp at this point. It becomes a day trade, right? This trade ran for way too long. There's no direction for like a good 15, 20 minutes. And then it finally did hit TP over here. But at that point, I would have been like stressed out with the position. So same with this one right here. You can see I'm glad my stop loss got moved in profit because now it's starting to go sideways. Right? So I'm super glad that I got out of this position here with my trailing stop because otherwise it would hit my stop loss. So, all right, we're gonna put this right here. This is a breakout V3 continuation, BV3 for partial. And now we have a little bit of an update. Let's see, Viv is asking how many plus minus points from how many points from sessions? Sorry, Viv, what's your question? I'm just a little confused. Are you talking about the sessions here, like the session high lows? Or are you talking about like how many points we have for the session? Yeah, if you can just clarify a little bit, I can give you an answer. Sorry, I'm just not sure. What are you asking for specifically? Sorry, I just saw your question right now. I saw that you put that up a few minutes ago. All right, so let me just update this real quick. So market flow V2. Breakout V3 continuation. All right, so we got that right there, and then I'll just screenshot. That right there, and we are good. Okay, Viv, I see your, thanks for clarifying. So Viv is asking basically like, how many points away from the sessions do we try not to trade? So you just don't want price to be touching the sessions, Viv. So it's okay if it's like right below it or right above it, but you don't want price to be touching it. So like, for example, these entries over here. So this one above, this one's okay because it's not touching the sessions right here, this purple line. But this one over here, I would have skipped, which I did skip. See, like this one I would have skipped because price is touching the session. So if your entry candle or your TP or basically if your TP or your entry candle is touching the sessions, I would just skip those completely because you don't want price to be manipulated on your entry. Same with this one right here. So this one over here, price has to touch the sessions, right, to hit its TP. So that's why I wouldn't have taken this one right here. For this entry over here, I would have been okay with this. So let me just replay it real quick. So this one over here, let me let the sessions load up. Okay, so see this one right here? We had the market flow V2. This is the entry that I actually took. The session is like up here. So I'm okay with taking the entry because it would have filled before it would have touched the sessions. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a clean break and close past it. It just doesn't have, you got to make sure it's not touching it. You want to make sure none of your TP area is touching it, because what happens sometimes is, like, for example, over here, see how, let me go up here real quick. And this is a pretty good example, because see how there's a market flow entry right here? And then there's a session right here, right? So price came down really close to like actually hitting TP, but because it bounced off the session right there, it got manipulated, right? And look how price reacts to this area here. So let me just clean this up, and look what happens here. Price never comes back down because now it gets faked out, and then it goes up, right? So this manipulation happened right here, and now pushed up above it. So you just don't want to have your you don't want price to touch it. If it can be outside of it, like for example, the other one that we just took or that we looked at. So this one over here is okay because it's not actually touching the sessions. At some point, it might touch it. Like for example, here it did touch it, but the way that it touched it here, it worked out in our favor, because now that it touched it right here, now it had trouble getting past this, right? It had trouble going to the stop loss. It actually came back down and it hit TP eventually right there. So it'll make sense once we cover this during the mentoring session, because we'll go over some examples on it. But you basically just don't want it to touch the session when it's going to your TP, because you don't want it to get manipulated on this side. The stop loss area is kind of okay in some instances. You want to avoid it, but if it's in your stop loss area, you're actually it's more beneficial, because price will get manipulated from up here versus down here. So you can see price gets close to the stop loss, but it's like, nope, bounces off the sessions, comes back up, bounces off the sessions, bounces off the sessions, bounces off, and then it finally comes down here. And ideally, the bottom area is a better area to trade in, because there's no sessions down here anymore. So since there's no sessions, it has a free, clean area to just push through. So yeah, I know it's all new stuff to you, so it might be a little confusing, but for the most part, you can see there's like a clean slate down here. So you can basically look for entries around this area. So yeah, that's usually where you want to avoid the sessions. But all right, there's no entries here again. I'm gonna wait for something here, but if nothing comes up, I'm not gonna force any entries. So again, guys, I took 2 entries for the day. I took the market flow V2, which is right here, the one prior to the initial entry that I just took. So market flow V2 right there. Price broke past the liquidity, and then there was a breakout V3 continuation that happened right here. And that's how I got these profits. So I'm currently in profit 630 and 680 across my accounts. Total profit of about 1,000 per account here for the week so far. So about 20,000 profit for the week. 600 for the day on my, these are my Apex accounts. So not too bad so far with regard to our scalps. You know, I just got to stay a little smarter with these entries here because of the market conditions. So again, like I said, it looks like price here is coming down, but realistically, if you break it down, it's not really coming down that smoothly. So if you zoom in a little closer, it comes down, but then it consolidates. Comes down and it consolidates. Come down and it consolidates. Right? This isn't the best type of market. We have direction here, but it's not like this. We want something to happen like this. This is better. Hopefully you guys can see the difference here. This isn't how the market's moving. It might look like it, but it's not, because realistically it's just going like this. So what's actually happening here is price is coming down. Then it consolidates for a little bit, comes down, consolidates for a little bit, then comes down. So we're having direction, but it's not a smooth direction. Like for example, right here, price is just going sideways. I wouldn't even consider this a drop. Some people might expect this to be a drop, like coming down like this, but it's not. Realistically, because now that I have the levels here marked up, if you just focus on this area and you focus on this area right here, you'll see that price isn't actually moving directional. It's just ranging. So that's why you got to think outside the box, because a lot of people, when they look at these charts, they think, oh, like this is typically what you'll see. Let me see. People's like, oh, it's bearish right now. It's trending. It's not really trending. It looks like it's trending, but if you look closer, it's not actually trending. It's going sideways. It goes down here, and it goes sideways, comes down, and now it's going sideways. So I personally wouldn't like right now, like I just said, taking a sell here is really risky because you can easily just get like if price pushes back up to this upper range, you can easily get stopped out, right? Because what a lot of people like to do when they take these trades is they look for a sell right here because they see price break structure and they put their stop loss like right there. See how easy it is to get stopped out? If price pushes any higher, you just get stopped out even more. So I don't think this is a very clean market to be looking for entries in right now. I was hoping that once we had the break right here, so this is where I took the breakout V3 continuation. I was hoping, okay, if this was going to happen right here, then maybe it'll keep dropping. So if I replay to this candle, because it looked like that was going to be the case here, right? It looked like, okay, price is done consolidating. Now I'm going to see this break through and drop lower. But if you look what happened here, that wasn't the case. Price just ended up faking out and pulling back into this range here. So you just got to be smart about your entries, guys. Like we talked about this yesterday on the mentoring session. Taking entries is easy. Like it's easy to make profit in the market, but it's hard not to give away your profit, right? I'm sure it's happened with a lot of you guys when you guys trade. You guys will get lucky sometimes, and you're like, "Oh, this is easy." It's so easy to make money in the market. But what happens right after is you blow all that money, right? You'll make a couple wins, and then you'll lose everything. The real skill with trading is understanding how not to trade. Like you got to learn not to trade. For me, for example, like I'm telling you guys, I'm not taking any trades here because the market's going sideways. This is me being smart because yeah, of course, I can take entries here. Like, right, I can take quick little buys here, like when price bounces up, or I could take quick little sells here. And yeah, I'll get lucky. I'll be like, oh, cool, I got like 4 or 5 wins right here. But then that one loss is going to wipe you out, right? Because it's impossible for you to do a big, like a big RR here. Like you can't even do a 1-to-1 here. We're a 1-to-2 because price is ranging so heavily that like you'll keep taking partials. And then when you keep taking partials, once you have that one full loss, it's going to wipe you out. That's why for me, I'm being very careful with my trailing stop because I'm taking partials here with my trailing stop, but I know if I have a loss, it's going to wipe out all my profits for the day. So I guess got to be smart and you got to understand when not to trade. Right now is not a good time to trade. So let me just adjust this over a little bit. And this is why I draw the liquidity here so that you guys can see, because you can see price is squeezing. So look at these blue lines here. This is liquidity, and you can see price is starting to squeeze within this little range right here. So I'm just looking out for you guys. If you guys want to take entries, feel free, but I'm going to do my best to look out for you guys because my goal here is for you guys to be profitable long term, right? I'm not here to make you like one quick day of like a lot of profits and stuff like that. I want you guys to be profitable long term. But in order for you to be profitable long term, you have to be able to develop that discipline to not click, right? I know how hard it is. Like it's hard not to click when you guys see entries here. Everyone's been through that, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have been through that where you're like, oh, I'm done trading for the day. And what happens? You take a trade. It happens to me. It happens to a lot of people. Thankfully, it doesn't happen to me very often anymore. It very rarely happens to me ever where I take like mindless trades. But I do understand, the addiction that people get with trading. Like for example, see how price is pushing up right here? I'm sure some people are getting itchy. They're getting that itch to take the buy here because they're like, oh, I want price to swing back up because that's what I was telling you guys earlier, right? So if you look over here in the 1 hour, my analysis that I was telling Jason about earlier, he was asking me if price is going to push back to open. I said price is probably going to come down here, bounce off the pivot, and swing back up. And that's exactly what's happening right here, right? So like I said earlier, the higher time frames are still bullish. So if you look here on the 1 hour, 4 hour daily, the long-term direction is still bullish. The short term here was bearish, but I said price is a bit overextended. So at this point, it's going to have to reverse at some point, right? You can see over here, I had my overextension marker right here at 200 points. So price was getting really close to that overextension marker. I don't think price is ready to flip yet. It might not flip at this point. So what might happen is, like, from my perspective, I think right now market is looking to fake people out. It's looking at luring people to some buys. So I'm sure, like I said, people here were starting to get a little itchy to take some buys, right? Think about the people who took buys right here. They probably would have entered somewhere here down the middle. Their stop loss would be like somewhere down here, right? And their TP is like way up here. I'm sure you've seen a lot of people have these crazy RRs, something like that. Well, what do you think is going to happen here? I think these people are going to get stopped out. It's going to stop them out, might come back up, then it might come back down, and then it'll actually push up. So just try your hardest not to get caught in these market traps. I don't think price is ready to push up yet because price didn't get down to the overextension, at least not yet. And I only know this because I've been trading for so long, right? I've been trading for so long. I've taught a bunch of people how to trade. Everyone looks at the same thing. Like it's crazy how like a lot of new traders, they all look for the same thing. Like they all fall for the same trap. Um, and that's why I got so good at finding these traps and identifying red flags and stuff like that. Because whenever I teach a new trader, or if I teach someone who's like learned from a different group, they usually trade this way. They trade the way that everybody else trades. So like I said earlier, look at that. Look at price coming back down. So you guys remember the markup I had over here? They're about to get stopped out. Because the thing is, there's liquidity sitting right here down below. So I think this liquidity here is going to get knocked out first before it pushes up. So push up a little bit, come down, grab liquidity, and then come back up. But this isn't us. We don't trade this way, so that's not going to, that would never be us. Um, for me, when I trade, I try to look for those low-hanging fruits, of course. Ideally, I do think price is going to push up though. So I think price will push up eventually, but right now, I'm just going to take the market as is. So I do think price will bounce off this area at some point, maybe climb up. But right now, like I said, I'm not looking for anything here specific because price is just going sideways. Let's see. Nice said might go back to up to open pricing to break out one way or the other. Yeah, and I agree with you too. I think what might happen here, Nice, is I think price is going to come down, fake out, maybe around here the overextension price point, and then come back up. That's kind of where I'm seeing it happening. But eventually, I do think price will break out at some point. It's going to have to, right? It's just market is super slow right now. Let's see. Charles is asking new question. How do you determine the liquidity high and low? Sorry, guys, 1 second. I got a cough. So yeah, Charles's question is asking, how do I determine liquidity high low? So what I do here, let me go to a clean chart. Okay, so here's a clean chart. The way that I identify, everybody does it a little differently, but the way that I identify it, it depends on like how strong of the high low that are you looking for, right? If you just want to have like the absolute strongest high liquidity areas, then and this is from my indicator. I created this own indicator so that I can identify it easier. Obviously, you can do it by hand. If you want to mark up your highs and your lows, you can do this by hand, right? You can just kind of gauge and have an idea like, okay, this is probably where the liquidity is sitting. If you don't have my tools, then this is how you would look for it. If you want access to my tools, they're completely free right now. So if you want to try them out, you can just go on the website. I'll explain later how to do that. But basically, this is how you can identify liquidity if you're doing it like by hand without actually looking. But if you want to have my tool, so I'm gonna take this off. Like, so basically here, the reason why I'm identifying this as liquidity is because whenever price reaches, like whenever somebody enters a sell here, for example, right? So say, for example, someone entered a sell right here, where do they place their stop loss? At the swing high, right? That's where everybody places their stop loss. It just almost always happens that way. So if that's where the stop loss is, that's where liquidity is. Because in order for price to trigger liquidity, because they'll have like you'll see people with crazy RRs like this, right? They'll have like something crazy like this. Sometimes it plays out, sometimes it doesn't. So like they have such a crazy RR that they're like, okay, I'm just gonna let this trade run. Same thing happens with like, for example, right here, if someone is entering a sell at this point, they'd enter like somewhere down here, stop loss would be right there, and then they have a crazy RR just trying to catch this huge move, right? Like 100 to 1 or something like that. So that's why like I'll mark up my liquidity at these points. But again, like I said, this is to do it by hand. It's not the easiest way or the best way to do it. If you turn that off and I turn on my indicator, then at this point I can identify all of the swing highs. So the way that I mark it up is I basically look at all these points that have not been tested. So meaning this area hasn't been touched yet. If it hasn't been touched, there's still a stop loss sitting up there and just waiting. So what I'll do here is I'll mark up every untested high. So every high that hasn't been touched yet, I will mark these up. And you can see over here, so this here hasn't been touched yet. So this is untested. These highs right here have been touched, right? This has been touched by this one. This one's been touched by this one. This one's been touched by this one. So I don't mark these up. I only mark up the ones that are not touched yet. So this is where I have all of the liquidity lined up at. So what I'm anticipating is that when price finally reverses, which eventually it's going to have to reverse at some point, right? It's going to have to knock out everybody's liquidity. So this is how I mark up my liquidity, because I'm like, okay, if price finally pushes up to these areas, it's going to blast right through because it's going to wipe out all this liquidity here, right? So that's how I mark up liquidity. I'll show you how it already happened in the past. So for example, we marked up this liquidity right here, right? Say for example, you're looking for liquidity down below, right? So I'll just use this as an example. Like before this big candle came up, I'll just replay it and just check this out right here. So I'm going to do the same thing I just showed you right now, but I'm going to show you in an area where it hasn't really moved yet. So check this out, Charles. See how like we have all this liquidity here, it has not been touched yet, right? It's the same thing that I just showed you earlier, but now look what happens when price actually touches these areas. See this big spike right here? Because it wiped out all the liquidity that I just marked up. And see what happens after it's touched all the liquidity? What do you think is going to happen here? It's going to go right back up, right? Let's see what happens here. Because now the liquidity is done with. And what happens here? It comes all the way back up. Might take some time, but eventually. Actually, no, this is from today. So now that we have, this is the liquidity that I marked up. And then now we have the liquidity that I just showed you before this. So before this, we have now all of this liquidity hanging out. So eventually, what do you think is going to happen here? These levels that I just marked up, they're eventually going to get hit at some point. So, I mean, there's people in the group who just trade liquidity. And I mean, they make pretty well doing that. Like if you see Jamie's profits in the chat, I don't know, Jamie, did you post your profits today? So Jamie right here, the only strategy that she applies is liquidity. Those are profits. So every day she's making about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Right? She made 3,000 the day before. All she does is trade liquidity. She made 6,000 right there. She made 4,000 right there. So she's just going for like one or two liquidity like trades, and then she pretty much calls it a day for the most part. So yeah, no problem, Charles. I mean, you can do it by hand, but like I said, you know, my tools here, it just does all the work for you. So you don't have to go and like kind of nitpick where everything's at. So if you want access to these tools, we never give these off for free, but if you want access to it, you just go to the website here, kodikaitrades.com, click on strategies. And then once you click on that there, so let me just show you real quick. And we're only doing this for this week, I think. There's only a couple that's available. So click on strategies right there. This is the checkout page. Normally you have to pay for it. Go to coupon code, type in trial, click apply, and it's free for the first month. So if you want to play around with it, I mean, make your money's worth. Once you make your money's worth, if you decide you want to keep using it, then keep using it. So yeah, I just want to make that available to everybody. We've never done this, but now that we're doing it, I just want to make it available to whoever wants to test it out. Anyways, back to the charts, guys. There's nothing happening here. So still nothing has happened. So you guys have not missed out on anything like this. I mean, there's just nothing happening here right now. So we will continue looking for some opportunities here, but if we don't see anything happen, then probably no more entries for the day. Viv is asking, is that one of your strats, liquidity? Yeah, it is one of the strats, but it's not in the course because it was one of those strategies I didn't really want to teach the public, but it's something that's so widely used now that I'll create a module for it. It'll be ready probably by not next week, but the week after. Okay, so I'll add that to the modules and we'll cover that during the masterclass. It's a pretty simple, straightforward strategy. The only problem is that not everybody knows how to use it properly. I think that's probably the hardest part about it, people using it properly. Because it is a bit of a tricky strategy. There's more factors that go into it versus just marking up liquidity. Unless you know how to trade liquidity already, then it's easier to apply. But there's different factors that go into like, okay, which liquidity is important, which liquidity isn't, and which one you want to keep using at some point, right? So I'll go over that stuff in detail because there's just a lot of different things that we have to cover to get to that point, right? It's just baby steps right now. We go from the basics to the tools, to the indicators, to the strategies, and then the red flags and where to avoid trades. So it'll be covered in week 3 of the masterclass for anybody who wants to sit in on that. All right, guys, not looking like too much is going to happen here. It's 7:55. We got about 5 minutes till 8. Yeah, there's just not much happening here. Price is still consolidating sideways. I'll keep marking up liquidity around these areas. Let's see, Talanji's asking, you mentioned yesterday it takes roughly 2 weeks to pass a 150K account. Do you pass all 20 of them at one time before trading for profits? Or I do it all at the same time, Talanji. So when I was trying to pass the evals, I would just use a copier. So same with like how I'm trading now with my copier. That's why I have all 20 accounts already active. So I would do the same thing I'm doing now. Basically, I would trade all the accounts and I would just slowly build up, right? Like every week I'd build up a couple $1,000 hopefully. And then hopefully by the end of like week 1 or week 2, I'd have enough to meet the criteria. So I would just trade them on the copier like I'm doing now. And then they all kind of pass around the same time. Yeah, but I would only do that if you feel comfortable. For you, Talanji, you've been around for a while, so I know you feel comfortable. You can probably do it. But for a new trader, I wouldn't recommend stacking up 20 accounts. Like there was a guy in our group. It was crazy. He was passing challenges like every day, but this guy would pass a challenge, get funded, blow the account, pass a challenge, get funded, blow the account. So like for a guy like him, I wouldn't recommend to do 20 accounts. Like, yeah, it's cool that you're passing, but you don't have the consistency yet to actually do it. But for you, Talanji, you've been around for a while. So I trust that you're going to be smart about the trades that you take, and you're going to be smart about, once you get funded, you're not going to keep YOLOing the accounts. Like it was crazy. This guy was only been trading for like a week and he was getting lucky. He was passing the challenges. Like, I don't know how he was passing the challenges, but he was taking like 100 or 200 trades a day. He would pass the challenge taking all these scalps. I think what he was doing is he was taking every single liquidity push. So he would just take every liquidity push that we had here. Like whenever he saw liquidity, he's like, okay, I'll take that for like 5 or 10 points. He would just go for a small little amount. He would take them and then he'd have like no stop loss. So like he would just like literally take the trade, TP, take the trade, TP, take the trade, TP. At the end of the day, he'd have like 100 or 200 trades, and then he would pass his challenge, his eval, and then he'd get funded. And I'm not gonna say his name, but you've probably seen him before. He was posting his stuff here in the milestones. Like every day he would have like, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna show you because you guys will know exactly who. He and he understands it. He knows he has a problem. He had a trading problem. He just started trading and he got really addicted to it. So he took every liquidity push. But I couldn't imagine how many times he was on the chart all day from like 5:30 up until 12 o'clock. He would pass the eval, but this guy was like wired to his screen. Um, it's crazy. He would make like 40,000 in one day because he was just on his screen taking every single liquidity push. But the problem is that he didn't realize that, like I said, not every liquidity is going to be a good liquidity. So he might have like a bunch of liquidity pushes that would hit, and then that one liquidity push that went opposite of him, because he had no stop loss, he would just blow his account. So it's crazy. He went through, I think almost 500 evals within like a month's period. So he would pass the eval one day and then he'd blow it the next day and then he'd buy another one and then do it again and then do it again and then do it again. So he racked up a debt of like 30K. So it's crazy, guys. Like control yourself. Once you pass the eval, guys, I would highly recommend moving it, like taking your contract size a lot smaller. Like on a 300K account, when I was trying to pass evals, I was using like 15 to 20 contracts. Now I only use like 6 or 10 contracts because I make it impossible to blow my accounts. So just just be smart, guys. Just be really, really smart about it. Or just follow me. If you follow me, I'll be like as conservative as possible. You might not make a ton of profit, but you're not going to lose a lot either. Like for example, if you look at my accounts here, I barely made anything today. Like realistically, I barely made like 600 per account. But again, I don't have red days, right? You'll see my weekly P&Ls. I'm not killing my accounts every week. Um, I just keep consistent. If you guys can keep consistent and just like have those base hits, right? I like to call them base hits. Like when I have a full TP like this, that's like a home run basically. But like when I have these 10-point partials, these are like base hits. If I could catch like a couple base hits, that's a home run. Or if I have one base hit and then one home run, then basically it'll add up. It'll add up over time. So your main goal is really just to end each day in profit and to end each week in profit. If you guys can close every week in profit, like for example, if I was done trading this week and I'm at 1,000, I would be pretty happy with that. And if you can do that repeatedly every single week, then you're like bound to be profitable long term. It's just you got to think of this as a long-term game. You got to think of it as a marathon, not a sprint, not a race, a quick race, a marathon. Like you want to be able to pace yourself so that when you get to that level where you have a lot of capital to trade, you're not going to blow it all on one trade. Solange said, I'm 100% just copying your trades now, and some others well-knowns like triple confluence, no more gambling. Yeah, that's the key thing. If you guys can just not, if you can treat trading like a business or like a job, then you'll be good. Like for example, I treat this like a job. I trade from 6:30 to 8, and then from there I'm done. I go on with my day, and then I'll mentor you guys if I have free time or stuff like that. And thanks, CJ. Yeah, so if you guys want to see the liquidity video, CJ said the May 1st, 2023 video covers liquidity. So let me go over there real quick. So yeah, Viv, if you want to understand that strategy, you can go to the May 5th. And if you guys go over here, I have over 1,800 live trading sessions. So if you guys ever want to review any of my live trading sessions, I've been trading live for like the past 8 years now. Every day I trade Monday through Friday. Every day I don't miss a day for the most part, unless like I'm out of town or I'm traveling. But yeah, I have years and years of live trading here. But I'll go to that. Let's see. So CJ said on May 5th of 2023, I covered the liquidity. So if you guys want to watch that, like if you guys can't wait for day 3 of the masterclass, you can just scroll down right here and I will I'll just save the video so that you guys can watch it at some point. But yeah, it's crazy how long I've been trading live for. I didn't realize I've been trading live for this long now. Like initially, I just wanted to. So when I first started this YouTube channel, I traded live just so that I can show my transparency with trading. And then it's crazy, like 5 to 8 years later, I'm now at 1,800 videos. I don't think there's anyone else that has that many live trading videos compared to mine. I got way too many. But it's cool. You guys can learn from my videos. It's not here, I'll put this over here in the strategy videos right here. So this is the mentoring session covering liquidity markups, liquidity push strategy. This is an old video. This is from last year. All right, perfect. Right there. So yeah, if you guys want to watch that video, just go to the Discord channel, go to strategies. I've tagged everybody in it, so you guys will probably get a notification. It'll be right here under strategies. Mentoring session covering liquidity markups and liquidity push strategy. Yeah. So, all right, guys, if you guys, I think that's it for the day. It's 8:04 right now. There's no other entries here for us to take. It's pretty much, the market looks like it might be turning now. So we'll see. Like I said earlier, guys, there's a ton of liquidity sitting up here. So look out for that liquidity getting hit as price pushes up. So if price pushes up to this upper area right here, next area for price to reach is going to be opening price up there. That's going to be the target price point. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up for the day, and we'll be back here tomorrow for the next live session. So, all right, guys, I'll catch you guys here tomorrow for the next live session.